A good day, gents. I once again hope all to be well. So now, gents, I want us to continue with the quadratic pattern. So this would be a continuation of what we did in the previous video. So now I again want us to continue with the past papers. So I want us to just have a good look at these two questions I have here for us. So now, gents, given the quadratic sequence, so that's the sequence over here, 4, 9, x, and 37, and the sequence continues. So now 1.1 wants us to calculate for x. So now just to remind you of the quadratic sequence. So remember that with the quadratic sequence or the quadratic pattern, you have to find a second difference. So now let's go on over to the second page so that we attempt 1.1. So now we are still given the pattern itself. The quadratic pattern wants us to find that second difference where the second difference is constant. So let's firstly find the first difference. So remember, we would subtract the preceding term from the previous term. So that would be a 9 minus the 4 to give you a 5. The x minus the 9. We will also have the 37 minus the x. So that would in itself would be the first difference. So I'll just maybe write it as the first there. We can then, to find the second difference, subtract. So that would be the x minus 9 minus 5, as well as the 37 minus x minus 9. So now remember that this in itself would be the second difference, and the second difference would essentially be constant. So it means that these two differences would essentially be equal to each other. So you can equate them. So now to solve for x, we would need to equate the two differences. So we would have x minus 9 minus 5, which would equal 37 minus x minus bracket x minus 9. So now the left-hand side will give us an x minus 14, which would then equal a 37 minus x. We just need to just multiply out to give us a negative x plus the 9. So now we can then just move everything, or rather the like terms to the left-hand side, and also just the numbers to the right-hand side. So now the axis would be a negative 2x. When moved to the left-hand side, they would give you a positive 2x. We can then just have the 37, the 9, as well as the 14 that's moved from the left-hand side. So now the left-hand side will give us a 3x, whilst the right-hand side gives us a 60. To solve for x, we will divide throughout by the 3, and we should then get x to equal 20. So that in itself would be what x would equal to. So now that was 1.1, and that warrants the 4 marks. 1.2 wants us to determine Tn, which is the general term of the sequence. So now for us to do so, now that we've actually found x, we can then just slot it in there. So now remember that the general term of the sequence would be with regards to this equation over here. So that would be a quadratic equation. So now to find the equation itself, we need the full sequence. So we just found what x was. So that would be 4, 9. Actually, let me just make some space a bit. Let me just have this a bit there. So that's 4, 9. We found x to be 20, and we also have 37. So the first difference would be the 9 minus the 4. So that would just be the 5. That would be 11. And this here would be 17. So the difference between the second difference would then just be 6. So that would be the first difference, and that would be the second difference over there. So now remember that the first difference can be equated to 2a. The first difference, so that's the second difference, can be equated to 2a, and the first difference can be equated to 3a plus b. The first term can then be equated to a plus b plus c. So now remember that we are interested in these portions there. So that's the equations. So these are the equations that we are interested in. So remember that this is all to solve for A, to solve for B, and to also solve for C. To do so, we have to start from the bottom. So we firstly have to find what A is. To find A, so I'm going to just use black again. So to find A, we will have 2A equals 6. To find A, we divide throughout by the 2, and we will have A equaling 3. So now to find B, we will use the 3A plus B equals 5. We will then substitute in the 3, so that's A for the 3. And we can then simplify further. So this side here will give us 9. So that would be B equals 5 minus 9, which equals -4. So that in itself would be the B. To find the C, we would need to use the first equation over there. So we have A plus B plus C equals 4. We found A to be 3. We found B to be -4 plus C equals 4. And we should then get C to equal 5. So that should be C over there. So now it then means that our equation, the equation that we were looking for in this form over here, would be Tn, which would equal 3n squared. So that would be minus 4n plus the 5. So that would be the equation that we would actually have on there. So now you can, it's always recommended, by the way, for you to check your equation to make sure that it's the right equation. So you can do so by choosing any of the 4 terms that you have here to test. So we can test the 4th term if you want to. You can essentially test any term, it doesn't matter, but let's test the 4th term. So it means T4 would equal 3, where there's n, we would substitute in 4. So that would then give us that. So that's the 4 as well, plus 5. And then by making use of the calculator, we can then determine that this gives you 37, which is the 4th term in the sequence. So now, gents, that's what I wanted us to look at today. Please do go through the vid and also attempt the work. It should help you in the test. A very good day to all. Bye, gents.